Grand rising to the heirs. Grand rising. It is August the 23rd, 1440 on the sun calendar, 1441 on the moon calendar, and 2020 on the Gregorian calendar. Welcome to the heirs, Islam. If there is going to be any noise in the background, if you'll please mute so that we can, so that everyone can hear. Islam, if you'll star 6. And then when you want to unmute, go ahead and star 6 as well. We want to get started. First, if we could just take just a moment to breathe and to focus our energies on our nation, because that's what this is all about. Let's just take a moment and put our energies towards our nation and also to the heirs who are incarcerated. We want them to know that we are thinking of them and that we love them and that we miss them and that we want them out here with us as the ancestors have determined Islam. And so we do want to focus our energy there as well. I will be muting those who come in just so that we can have this moment of silence. I'm going to go ahead and mute the meeting so that we can have this moment of silence for those in our nation who are incarcerated. We want them to know we love them and that we're thinking about them and that they are always and continuously in our hearts and minds and thoughts, and that all that we're doing out here is also for them. We include them in everything that we say and do, because when we speak, we say, we and all Moors stand together. And that's every bloodline and birthright Moor on the earth. We stand together. We are one. And so let's take just a few seconds. Even though they're on our minds all the time, we do want to just take a few seconds to send them some positive energy so that they can do their demonstrations and know that they're not alone in there. Many of us have been set free. I am one who has been set free as well. And you all pretty much know my story from 2017. And many of us have been set free, and there are still, even if there's one more that is still incarcerated, we want to stand with them as a nation and let them know they are never, ever, ever alone, ever. So let's just take a few seconds to send them some positive energy. So we'll have a moment of silence for them, and let's do about we'll do about 30 seconds where we just send the energy to them, and this is just a continuation of what we do regularly for them. Okay, so let's just take about 30 seconds and send them some love. Islam. Islam, 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 Islam. And I know that the ancestors have allowed them to feel the love we're sending to them, because we command the energies on the earth. And when we send our energies, they go where we send them, and then they return to us and strengthen us also. So,
Bay, DC territory.
Islam, we're grateful for all who are here. We want to also remember the emperors and empresses who are not feeling well in their physical bodies. That healing will come to them in the most natural and effective way. Islam. And with that, yes, Islam. With that, we do want to cast a few spells as we go into this meeting. And one of the spells that we are going to cast and continue to cast is the truth that we are white, sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine, Moorish American nationals. We are the heirs to all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. And that the pale-faced minorities on our land known as blacks, they are black at law, the European Albions, the foreign carnivorous hybrids, that we love them, and that we appreciate that they are starting to accept the fact that they are black and that they are not white, and that we are the white at law sovereigns on the land. Islam. That misnomer has been placed in the media for many years, and now it is changing back to what it should be. They are openly admitting that they are black at law and that we are white at law. And we're going to continue to refer to the pale-faced minorities as blacks. We will continue to refer to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine, universal Moors as white. And we are the majority on our land. We always have been the majority, because we know that majority does not mean, it is numbers, because there are more of us than there are any others on our land. We meant for that to be the case. That will always be the case. We know that the blacks, the pale-faced European Albion blacks, are the minority on our land. And we want them to know that we love them for all that they have done in our grand awakening, and that their services are no longer needed, and that we want them to be aware of that, Islam, and that we will continue to competently state that on the public record, not just by our affidavits, but by our actions. Islam. We're preparing the way with all that we say and do for all of our heirs and the generations to come to stand, and for all of the nations of the earth, the original indigenous nations of the earth, to rise and stand and be free. We know that they have been waiting patiently for us to wake up from our sleeping. And we honor their patience in waiting for us. We want them to know, all of the indigenous nations, we want you to know we love you so much. And we appreciate all that you have done for us, all that you have done. Your works are not forgotten. Your patience and even the suffering that you've gone through is not wasted nor forgotten on us. Islam. We also want to briefly mention with regard to the what they're calling the coronavirus. The one in all lowercase letters, it has everything to do with the I that is on top of the pyramid. The corona is an I reference, and it is directly linked to the I, coronavirus. Can we see? Do we see? And that is, can we see all that was previously hidden from us? And it was actually hidden in plain sight. And the more that we are able to see now that we're wiping the sleep out of our eyes and awakening, when we look around us, we realize that everything was about the air, everything. And that the ancient markers that say that we've always been here are everywhere, all around us, all around us. There's no getting around them. It's time for everyone on the earth to seek their true identity. It's time for everyone on earth to seek their true identity. Everyone must get under their own vine and fig tree at this time. And for those who are resistant or belligerent in that manner, things will get very tough for them. Very tough for them. For the heirs who are awakening, things are going to get a lot easier through your demonstrations. We must demonstrate who we are at all times. We cannot bow at all to any pressure that has to do with who we are. In moving forward, we don't blame others for our tests to the pale-faced minorities known as blacks who were doing business as Europeans and etc., to the Albions who are black. We don't blame them at all for our tests, and we don't blame ourselves, because that's actually more important. We don't blame ourselves for our tests. We simply respond to our ability to take responsibility for the tests and master them. That is what we're doing right now. We are mastering the earth. We have dominion over it, and that will not change. Even in our sleep, we had dominion over all of the earth. That won't change. Never has and never will. Having said that, I want to be sure that we get everyone in touch with someone else in your territory. Is there anyone on the call? And you can star 6. Anyone on the call? I'm going to.
It's just that she doesn't care how.
Just a moment. Anyone on the call who wants to declare their nationality? We want to make sure that we get that part taken care of. Is there anyone on the call who wants to declare their nationality? If you do, state your name, your nationality, and the territory that you domicile in. Name, nationality, and the territory that you domicile in, so that we can connect you with any other Moors on the call who are in that territory.
New York.
Islam. Islam. Okay. Now, are there any questions from any of the heirs who you might be going through something and you have questions about what you're going through? Because most likely, if you have that question, there are some other heirs who have the same question. And hopefully It will be a question that, first and foremost, your studies can give you the answer to. And secondly, that we can assist in any way. Are there any questions?
Is Tikwa Saunders L, Maryland Territory?
Islam.
Hi, I was calling. Actually, I had a question referring to what you were just stating. A few calls back, I'm not sure if it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, there were some other Moors, 2 Moors, talking about using a treasury seal for their court or tribunal cases. So I was wondering if they were on the line, if I could speak with them, or I could just leave my email and speak with them about that as well.
About what was it that you wanted to
They had used the Treasury Department seal to beat their tribunal cases with the United States Corporation.
Okay. I don't know if they're on the line, but I'm sure that when we post this on the public record, so if you want your email to go on the public record, you can say it here and they may hear it. If not, and you'd like to give it directly to them, you can put it in the chat, and if they are here on the call, they can get it out of the chat.
Okay, I can do both.
And I will tell you, yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, the Treasury seal, if they are using the seal from the United States Treasury that's in all capital letters, I would not suggest that they do that. You cannot tell sovereigns what to do. But anything with all capital letters, you really don't want to use that. You want to have a sovereign Moorish American seal.
Okay.
Okay. You want to have a sovereign Moorish American seal, government seal. You are part and parcel for your government, and you do want to have a seal like that. Yes. It's fine.
It's fine. The email I can be reached at is Tikwa Nefertiti Saunders L @gmail.com. It's IQUA Nefertiti Saunders with an S and L @gmail.com. So please reach out if you can. Islam.
Islam. One thing that I really like about our nation and about the Moors is that we know that we're the heirs, and so there are many demonstrations being done with regard to the Treasury, sovereign credit instruments, et cetera, et cetera. The Moors have the authority and the sovereign status to do whatever they want to do on the land. We can do that. And, you know, I'm not suggesting that anyone do anything like that. But if you want to do it, you're sovereign. You can do whatever you're competent to do it. Always demonstrate at the level of your overstanding. Always, always demonstrate at the level of your overstanding. We always say that because we don't tell Moors what to do. We make suggestions, and ultimately the sovereign is the one who makes the decision on what they want to do. Islam. Are there any other questions? Islam.
I saw in Virginia on a YouTube video that they're going to make COVID-19 vaccinations mandatory for all the residents in Virginia. So, as a Moorish American national, if that comes in our territory, what is it that we need to do?
Moors, go ahead. I'll let the Moors respond to that as well, because they know what to do also. So any Moors who want to assist our brother with that piece right there. Empress Maylo, I think I saw something that you put in the chat. If you want to speak to that, what you put in the chat, Islam.
Well, first of all, we are not residents, okay? So you are moorishe American national. You proclaim your nationality. Res is the thing, that identifies itself as a thing, and you are not a thing. You are a living being. You are the heir on this land. You belong to yourself and not to another. You are not a commodity. You are not a thing. So they can make all the rules and laws. They say they're laws. They're not laws. They're policies, regulations. They have nothing to do with you. And usually, if they do send something to you, they're going to send it to that all caps name that enleges, which is not you. So there's actually nothing for you to do, because they're not talking to you. Islam, I yield.
Okay.
Islam. And also, Justice Gregory, there's a little bit of noise coming through. I'm going to mute just a couple of lines so that the noise, okay. Also, Justice Gregory, when you put your sovereign status on the public record, anybody who has anything that's talking about res ident, okay, because the word res does mean property, just as Empress Maylo said. And anyone who's doing anything like that has anything to do with vaccinations, etc., vaccinations are for animals. So that's like them announcing that they're going to vaccinate everyone in the zoo, and then we're running around thinking they're talking about us. Well, first of all, we don't live in their zoo. We are at ancient Morocco. And second of all, we're not animals, and that's first of all, too. So when you put your sovereign status on the public record, and not just the sovereign status, but a termination of all corporate contracts, then anyone who's attempting to do that should check the public record. And when you find out who's doing that or who's making that type of noise, feel free to lien them, even though, you're not in any danger, but lien them anyway and do a court action and put that on the public record. And I guarantee you, we're the highest court on the land. We're the highest court on the land. So find out who it is that's doing that, and then call them into your court.
Thank you, Islam.
Yes, Islam.
Raul, Emmanuel, Drake Bay.
Islam.
Well, Turner Bay.
Islam. Welcome, nobility. Islam. So again, anything that's going on in the territories that makes the heirs feel a certain way, if it invokes any emotion out of you, especially any cognitive dissonance where corporations are concerned, our first and most powerful response will always be termination of all corporate contracts, making sure that that's on the public record, because that's actually a building block for everything else that we're going to do after this. We have much coming up, and we need to have that on the public record now so that we won't need to look back and try and get that done later as we move forward. And then a lien, and then a court action. All Moors will need to do court action because Islam, welcome. Islam, and so we're going to need, all Moors will need to know how to do the court actions. The reason being is that any Moors that are doing commerce, okay, if you plan on doing sovereign commerce on the land, whether here or on any of the other lands, internationally, universally, etc., you will need to have a termination of all corporate contracts on the public record. That must be done in all lowercase letters in red. Okay? We are preparing now and moving into sovereign universal commerce. And just like our prophet said, that the economy was going to grind to a halt, and about 90 days later, it's going to start back up again in the favor of the Moors. He knew that it was going to be in the favor of the Moors because he knew we were going to be the ones to do it. He knew that the Moors were going to be the ones to do it. And as a building block to move to the next session, Islam, the next level, as it were, we will need to have a termination of corporate, all of us will need to have a termination of corporate contracts on the public record. I have mine on the public record. It is in red. And a termination of corporate contracts is going to ensure even those that we're doing business with across the waters, they need to know that we have stopped all, that we don't have any connection with the Service Corporation. They need to know that because the Service Corporation has done some things to them, and they don't want anything to do with the Service Corporation. So they're going to want to ensure that the heirs that they're looking at know that they're heirs and know that they're not a part of the capitalist corporate system. And they need to know that that system is subject to us. And that starts with nationality, bloodline, birthright, Moorish American. It also starts with the termination of all corporate contracts. And in the termination of all corporate contracts, you're also stepping up as the creditor to all nations at earth. We are that, always have been, and always will be. And commerce must be based on that to begin with, because there are many other affidavits that are going to go on the record according to your chosen commercial, universal commercial endeavors. Our commerce is not under the Service Corporation. Our commerce is far above anything that they have ever done, and they are already aware of that. And the termination of corporate contracts will make that known for all of us. So if you go to Moorish American Consulate Public Records page and look at some of the terminations of corporate contracts that the heirs have placed on the public record, it's on Facebook, Moorish American Consulate Public Records Facebook page. If you go there and look at the documents there are thousands of documents there that you can copy. And when I say copy, I just mean type them out for yourself on Moorish government letterhead and study them. Do not demonstrate anything until you study it. Always study before you demonstrate. And then study your energies and study yourself before you demonstrate. And don't wait to demonstrate. Go ahead and demonstrate once you are comfortable with the demonstration that you're going to be doing. Islam. Are there any other questions or comments? Yes, Empress.
Islam, Empress, I just wanted to add to what you just said. After they looked at the examples and the samples there and what the other Moors have in place, and they've read them and they comprehend the process and what they're doing, because I noticed there was a Moor a while back. His question was, how did we get everything perfectly lined up? And it wasn't till later I realized he didn't know that you go and take the Word document and create your own. So I'm just going to put that out there, that the templates are there also. I mean, they're also on the Moorish American Consulate.org. You can also go on to the website for the Moorish American Consulate, Arizona.org site. You can go there too, find the forms and templates. So you get the Word document, and once you call it up, you do a save as, and then you can save it as a name for your purpose. What you can still call it termination contracts, but just put your own number. You can use your MAC number and add some numbers to it. Save that document. And then go ahead and also anybody that knows about the Word, as far as Word documents, to go ahead and click on the insert and then click on footer. And down at the footer, you can also change the number of the document there too. Okay, so
Islam.
that's which is also good for when you want to change the document to lowercase and red letters. Okay, so I had to say that because we did have somebody a while back who wasn't sure how to do that. So Islam, I yield.
Islam indeed. Islam, yes.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up on what you said about, this is Brother Mitchell Bay. I'd like to follow up what you said about our courts being the highest court in the land. I'm not so sure people really believe that, because we've been indoctrinated in so much that why aren't nobles standing up and proclaiming and holding court, convening an Article 3 court wherever they are? You know, I was challenged by you and Sister Maylo to do an Article 3 court, and I did, and I realized that when I was here in my courtroom with my daughter as my clerk, I realized I'm sitting on the top of the heap. Our ancestors are brilliant. Three is our number. 3 is one of our numbers, right? Well, don't you guys realize Article 3 courts are our courts, our counselor courts, our ancestors' courts? They were smart in doing what they did. So why, I'm going to challenge nobles, more nobles, to get up and start proclaiming across the land Article 3 courts. Because when you convene an Article 3 court, you are the justice. You see, and so we got to stand up and vanguard. You know, there's some young Moors coming, seeing and knowing, but I don't see them standing up and proclaiming Article 3 courts. You guys don't realize, brothers, that you are at the top of the heap on this land when you convene an Article 3 court. Now, it takes follow-up, of course, but you got to stand up and put the energy out there. I was looking, sisters outnumber us by far on standing up and proclaiming Article 3 courts. Brothers, our job is to protect our sisters, or protect our families, build an environment whereby they can raise our kids and raise our nation. To do that, you got to stand up and proclaim who you are. Our ancestors gave it to these Albions in their contract when they had to bow down to the counselor court. I don't like the word bow down, but they're not subjects. They're citizens like everybody else. You know, we don't want to degrade them, but we just happen to be on top. So when you have an Article 3 court, you are on top. And I said, you know, when I did my court, you know, I later on I said, I like these courts. I like being the boss. And we are the boss. So, brothers, I want to challenge you. We should see hundreds and hundreds of Article 3 courts. You have the meeting in there, whatever. People say, Article 3, what do you mean? You point them right to the Constitution, their contract.
Islam?
That's what we got to do. I yield.
Yes, Islam. Thank you for that, Justice Mitchell. Yes.
Islam?
Go ahead, Justice. Yes, go ahead.
I had a question. If we haven't gotten around to sending out our name change and our jurisdiction change on the paper, can we start with doing a court action? Can we instead of sending it in through to the 7 locations on paper, can we record ourselves declaring our nationality in our own court?
Absolutely. You're sovereign. You can do that. You sure can.
Right. Yes. Islam.
Yes. Know what sovereignty is. Know what it means. I do see a court action that has been placed in the chat. Justice, yes, go ahead, Justice Yearmore, and then we'll have Justice Amos to tell us his court information. Go ahead.
Islam. Moore, who spoke just before you talked, to repeat that last part of what the question that they had, and that they were said about where the documents are sent or what they're doing with it. because I heard part of the answer and not much of the question, and so that's why I'm asking. I'd like to have an understanding of what he was asking about. Islam.
Okay, which one, Justice Gilmore?
The one that you just addressed when he said about whether they hadn't sent out their documents yet, or something to that nature, and it kind of raked over like something going on a grater, and so that's why I'm asking.
Justice Apollo, do you want to respond to that? He was just asking you to repeat the question, basically, that you were asking about doing it about declaring in your own court.
Islam?
Yes.
Islam.
Could you just repeat what was the question you asked?
Right. So what I've been noticing with our blueprints and our templates is that it starts off with we use the science of writing, specifically writing something down and putting it on paper, as well as the science and the spelling and the ways that we spell, and we send out our affidavits that way. But I was asking if a court action, if a verbal court action can replace the written demonstration. Now,
is it a lawful notice and name declaration?
Sorry?
Are you talking about the lawful notice, name declaration, correction, proclamation?
Right. Islam. That part specifically, instead of utilizing writing, if we could utilize verbal. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm probably going to do both, but just to kind of have that understanding and that foundational principle kind of clear, because some of the things that I know in my spirit is the highest truth. I still like to go back and look at the roots of where they started. Just for example, the differences in something that's written in black and something that's written in red. That was
Islam.
That was established at one point. So I like to go back and make sure that I double check everything.
Islam. What you need to keep in mind is that you're giving these people notice. That notice you're giving them is that you're not what they have been using as the way to control you. You're giving that notice to them because, again, we're not looking to go to war with anyone because we don't need to go to war. We use the words, and the words you're using is the first thing you do is you're giving notice. So if you're giving notice, you want to know what it is you're giving notice about. And if you read those two documents carefully, not like just to say, oh, okay, I'll just go over it, but you read them like you're giving yourself an exam. And when you read the documents, you will find that on them is already encoded pretty much all the things you need to know and be. So you're putting that out there as notice, not because you have to do it, but because you're giving them a fair chance to know that they have been told. Why these things have notice to principal is notice to the subjects or their individuals or, whatever. These things are so we give notice. And when we're giving notice, we're studying it so we know what we're talking about, and now we're actually being that as we give notice. Once you do that and you've sent that notice out, you can do anything else you want to do, including, do your Article 3 court and send out the documents that way. But the people that are coming into the movement, they are generally coming because they talk with somebody else. And when they come in, they need to have some type of structure different from the structure they have been dealing with for whatever the time they think or believe or know that they have been operating in this dimension. So it's not a matter of whether you should or shouldn't. If you have a better way to notice, great. But you should still do the first one if you're coming in, or if you've been doing this long enough that you have all the experience, do it. I do a lot of the things that are advised, but there's also lots of things I don't do that way because I know law. And I know that certain things, one of the very first things is notice. Yeah. Not 3 times. Okay? So when you talk about Article 3 courts, it's the same thing again. It's 3, right? So, just and this is not just aimed at you specifically. It's the reason why these things were put together. And we've modified them from what we were used to, because most of us, when we got documents that we actually sent out, they were either produced by R.V. Bay and Grand Sheikh Taj, or copied from that and produced by others. And we essentially saw that was the best thing around. And so we would work and see exactly how we could improve it to move the movement forward. Yeah. So it's a great document to use as a template, and then, work from it, because it's got all the information that one needs to know to be able to protect themselves in mind. And it's designed to get your mind thinking. Like you saw that Justice Wright had placed at the beginning of the call, where Noble Drew Ali saying, if I could get you to think, you'll save yourself. She had it worded a little differently, but this is to get you to think outside the box that we've all been thinking that, that was the extent of what we were. And it's just a beginning, because the further you go, you're going to find it gets huge. If one can even contemplate that right now, I pretty much just want to sit for a little while and not do anything to ask anything, but just check, say, wow, I'm that, pinch. Wow, I'm that, pinch, okay? I'm not going to keep saying that, but it's important to know that and use it. Islam,
and also I'll camel back. Yes, I'll camel back off of what Justice Yearmore said. I can say that looking back at the videos that have been done in the past gives me a timeline that cannot be forgotten. I will not forget when we did everything, because it was placed on the public record by video. Also, placing it on the public record in writing is not just for us, it's also for those who are looking at the public record. And we're going to be referring to the public record very often, so that as we move forward, because there are so many sovereign signatures on the sovereign autographs on the public record, that we're going to use the power of all that has been placed on the public record to move us forward as a nation and as a government. So I would always put my documents on the public record, because they also indicate competence. When your documents are seen on the public record, and even when you go back and look at them, you know how far you've come, and it's a reminder of where you're going. So to put the documents in writing, in red, in all lowercase letters on the public record, and with regard to putting them in red and in all lowercase, just do the study in capitis, diminution minima, and know that we are, as the sovereigns, in capitis diminuto nolo. That means no capital letters. Islam.
Empress, what can we look at to get more information about the differences in the colors? Because I noticed it's something that we're doing, and like I said, it's something I know in my spirit is truth, or it makes more sense. But in terms of, is that also a part of like the Roman law, or what can we read to get more understanding on the differences between something written in red, blue, gold, and then of course?
Yes. They're going to tell you about every color except red. They're going to tell you about gold and purple and blue and black and all. They're going to tell you about all of that. They cannot tell you about red. We must tell you about red. In other words, we, the heirs, are the only ones who can tell our story. Red is for the blood. No one else has it, only the heirs. That's why they use all those other colors. But red is our color because we are it symbolizes the bloodline and the birthright. It is the equivalent of the blood on the doorpost where in the Biblios where the plague passed over the sovereign blood household. It did that because the blood was there. We're the only ones who have that blood. And when we do our documents, they are considered blood covenant documents, which means no one goes outside of them and does well. You will not do well outside of those blood covenant documents. So when we send them, those who know a competent blood document, when they see one, they're going out everywhere, they know that that's not something that they can just ignore. Okay, and those who cannot use red will say, don't use red. So if you listen to the citizens, they're going to tell you don't use red. Well, they're not even talking to you. They're talking to other citizens because they know they don't have the bloodline. We do. And I see some things going on in the chat. Empresses, you all want to say a little bit about that because that's some good information that's being placed in the chat there.
Islam,
Justice Yisrael.
Yes, Yazriel Perez Bay, North Carolina Territory. Yes. Yeah, if you notice in the story where we were told to put the blood over the doorpost, the doorpost is symbolic of the self. The blood is the bloodline of the man that they refer to as the Lamb of God. That was Yeshua, of course, who was Canaanite Moabite. The same blood as everyone who's on the call today. So when it talks about the blood of the Lamb, it's actually talking about the bloodline of those firstborn. We are the firstborn. Yeah. So, yeah.
Ooh, powerful and true. And that's why we use red. That's yet another valuable reason why we use red. In the chat, it says the doorpost is the entryway to the mind. Yes, it symbolizes that. Islam. I wanted to take a moment, and I'm going to mute some of the lines where there's a little bit of more noise coming from the background so that we can hear the court actions that are coming up this week. They were placed in the chat. So the sovereign, supreme, original, indigenous, natural, divine justices who have court actions this week, would you please give us that information so that we can hear and attend your court action? Islam.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Islam. Empress Lael Yisrael. I have one question. I am trying to find a template, or if someone has if I'm saying this right, quit claim deed. I've been looking and searching, and I'm not able to locate one.
Okay.
Secondly, oh, sorry.
We actually go ahead and skip the quit claim deed part at this point. We know now that title, sovereign title, is what we
the
use.
allodial title,
Sovereign
Islam.
Yes, yes,
Islam.
yes.
Okay, quickly. I have a court case tomorrow, Monday, the 24th of August at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. If any of the Moors are available and can attend, I would greatly appreciate it. It is going to be audio only, and I have a dial-in number if you have your pens and paper ready. The dial-in number is area code 623-600-3746, and the conference code is 889649.
And spell your appellation, Empress.
Yes, it's Lael, and it's YISRA space EL. Yisra L.
Yes, Islam.
Islam, I yelled.
Yes, and it's tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow at
Islam.
10 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Yes, we have it. Thank you so much, Empress, for that. We're going to also put that on the social media pages as well, so that the Moors can attend, so that they can hear what those court actions are like. Other court actions for this week.
Islam Moors.
Islam.
So they're almost here. I got a court action tomorrow at August 24th at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and the dial-in number is 602-580-9457. The access code is 432-1652. And if you want to join on the conference call, the online, what is it? Tag is
ID?
LAW. Yeah, the online ID is LAWGJR69. Again, that's LAWGJR69.
Islam. And that information is on Facebook in all of the Moorish American Consulate pages, to include Moorish American Consulate Public Records Facebook page, Northeast, Arizona, West, South, East, Canaan Land, etc. The court actions are shared onto all of those pages, as well as like Tajiri Bay on Facebook. Okay, so we try to make sure that we get all of the court actions out there. And so are there other court actions this week? Other court actions that you need to announce here? They are our top priority as a nation. One of our top priorities. Islam.
Mayloemrojo, washitah Bay, Arizona Territory. I have one tomorrow also, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 a.m. Pacific in Arizona.
Told you I'm listening to you. Lay down. You're bothering me.
No.
I can't know.
Hold on for just a moment.
I just want to ask if anybody coming here for
Mama A.
Okay, go ahead, Empress. I apologize. I wasn't able to get to that line quickly.
That was an interesting conversation. I wanted to hear. Anyway, the dial-in number is 518-425-1624. There's no PIN needed. Online ID is mayloemrojo _EL_washitah_Bay. I have one on the 26th on Wednesday, and it's at the exact same time and the same info.
Yes.
Islam, I yield.
Islam.
Islam, this is Wilton Turk Bay from Mississippi Territory, and I have a court action Wednesday at 3:30 Central Standard Time, 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, and the access code number is 425. I mean, the number is 425-436-6200, and the access code is 189766. And it's at wiltonturk60@gmail.com. That's WILTONTURK60@gmail.com. And the ID number for the online is Wilton Turk 601. That's Wednesday, August 26, 2020. I yield.
Islam, I think she got temporarily seated. She'll be right back.
We can't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I muted myself. I'm quick to mute others. I want to be sure that I mute myself too, so that it's fair. Sorry. Equal treatment for us all. So, Islam, thank you for that, because I'm just running my mouth. I have a court action. Just a moment. Let me just clear up the lines just a little bit. Thank you for that, Justices. I have a court action on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, the 25th, it's at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific. The dial-in is the same as it is today. It's 425-436-6280. Access is 368-903. And the online ID for freeconferencecall.com is Light Bay Moorish Nation and the number 1. And again, Pauline Denise Ritchie is my sovereign-born appellation. I am like Tajiri Bay, in capitis diminution nolo, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredis. Justice Sharon Morris Bay, I believe, has a court action on Wednesday, September the 2nd. Are you present, Empress? Did you want to
Islam.
To announce? Islam, yes, Islam. I would have done it for you if you weren't here, but go ahead. Go ahead, Empress.
Yes, it's September the 2nd at 2 p.m. Eastern. And the dial-in number is 978-990-5000. And the access code is 298268#. And online, it's Sharon A. Morris Bay, SHARON, the letter A, MORRISBEY. And that's at 2 p.m. And I just want to add that this is, I'd also like to give a little bit of status about the corporations that have been, I've not had to make a payment for some of my utilities for almost a year now. This particular one I'm calling into court is for the internet, which they were belligerent. I hadn't made a payment, so-called payment to them. And so they were belligerent after they received my capitis nolo writs. And so they did disconnect my service, so I'm taking them to court. And yeah, but they know who we are, and they have to get in line. So that's what the court action is about. So Islam here. Oh, can't hear you.
Islam?
Islam, go ahead, Islam.
Islam. This is Justice Apollo, and I have a court action coming up on September 4th.
Thursday, babe. Illinois, Thursday.
Yes, Islam. Welcome, nobility.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Justice Apollo.
Yes, I have a court action coming up on September 4th against the Louisville Metro Police Department.
Yes. What time is it?
And the time is at 3:33 a.m. Eastern Time.
Is that a.m. you said?
Yes, yes.
As in the morning?
Yes.
Oh, okay, Islam.
Yes, yes. At 12:33 Pacific Time, and 2:33 Central Time, a.m. And the
call in.
Yes, the meeting ID is Apollo APOLLO _L_11, and the call-in number is 425-436-6338. And the meeting, the
access?
Yes, 310-635.
310-635.
Yes.
Okay. Islam. Well, okay.
Islam.
We will put that also on social media as well, Justice Apollo. And I'm sure you've probably already done that. We usually add them all together and put them together so that we have a running docket of the court actions that are coming up by the highest court on the land.
Islam.
So yes. So we want to be sure that everyone is aware of all the court actions. We don't. There are some court actions that the heirs have decided, they don't want it on social media for one reason or another. And that's okay too, because they want to do them a certain way. And that's fine too. We like to have ours put on social media so that everyone knows that we are indeed governing on our land, and that we're not afraid to have it out there on the public record. We're not going to hide because we're the heirs. And we are the government, we are the law, Islam. I believe that's all of the court. Oh, I believe Justice yes, Islam.
If Angela Smith Bay have a court action August the 31st.
Yes. Go ahead, Empress. Give us the details.
Okay.
It's valid. Islam.
It's August the 31st at 3:00 p.m. Eastern, 1:00 Pacific. Dial-in number is 602-580-9810. Access code is 409-1883. The online is SCOON, SCOON 712.
Islam, and we'll go ahead and put that. We'll put that on social media as well. I believe we may have it already, but if not, these will be added to the other court actions. I know for sure there is also another court action on Friday, August the 28th. Justice Jada Davis Bay has a court action as well. It is at 10 a.m. Eastern, which is 7 a.m. Pacific. Justice Jada Davis Bay's dial-in on freeconferencecall.com is 701-802-5386, and her access code is 584-8067, and the online ID for her sovereign court is Green I 1268. That's green as in the color green. I, that's EYE 1268, and that is that's Justice Jada Davis Bay's courtroom where she will be doing her court action. Justice Gregory, Dewayne, Wright, L has a court action tomorrow August 24th. His court action is at 7 a.m. Pacific, which is 10 a.m. Eastern. His dial-in is 425-436-6356, access code 73802. Okay, so we want to be sure that we support all of the sovereign supreme justices who are doing court actions, and also we want to give them the highest honors. They are making her story, which they used to call history, but we are accessing and honoring the matriarchal energy as well. And so we want to honor all of the justices that are doing court actions, and those Moorish Americans who have not done court actions, we encourage you to learn the court actions process so that you can govern your vast affairs. The court actions are also, again, one of the foundational platforms, as well as the liens, one of the foundational platforms whereby each one who is going to be doing universal sovereign commerce in this new era, because we are in a new era, those who are doing sovereign commerce will know how to do the court actions, because they will be necessary as we move forward in case any corporations are attempting to stick their little necks up over our resources as we move into the new era that is absolutely all about the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs, Islam. We are moving forward. We are moving forward, and excuse me, we're moving forward, and we cannot be stopped by anyone. Are there any other court actions that we need to know about? We honor all of our court actions. They are the top priority for our nation, because that is actually the reason why the other courts, the fake ones, are shutting down and staying closed and staying masked up with a mask on their faces. Masks are symbolic of silence, which is why we don't wear them. But we know how to competently articulate that on our land by using the law not to wear them as well. We don't just walk around and say, oh, we're not wearing masks because we just don't want to wear them. We know how to articulate that, and if you'll refer to the mask video on how to articulate that in your territory, that will also assist you, Islam. Are there any other comments, court actions? Let's see. I believe, Justice Gregory, did I give the right time for your court action? You said 9. Let me just be sure that I did give the. Yes, it's 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. Yes, that's correct, Justice. Yes, Islam. Okay, thank you, Justice Gregory. I heard you. I know you're probably on the road right now, so we know that you are unable to speak. But we heard you with the Islam. We appreciate you, and we appreciate the work that you're doing for our nation as well. Islam. Glad that you're doing court actions also. Are there any other announcements of a national nature? Any other questions? Court actions are the national business. They are the order of the day as well as nationality, because they are the sovereign invocation, the highest invocation of our sovereign jurisdiction. Are there any other announcements or questions with regard to the court actions or any other national business? Feel free to start with Islam.
Islam, Justice Gregory. My question was, as far as when we after we do the court actions on the banks and turn them to trust and savings companies, also known as sovereign resource institutions. Is there any additional documents that we need to send with the liens when we send them into the trust and savings companies?
Have you done a termination of corporate contracts? Because that needs to go as well, and it needs to terminate all corporate contracts.
Islam, yes, I have. That's what I was wanting to know. Is there
Okay.
anything additional that we need to send with the lien as well?
You can send that, especially when you're talking about banking situations. You can mail that in as well. We speak by affidavit. We don't have to go into the frontline people. We just send it by mail, by certified sovereign first class mail.
Islam.
Very proud to hear that you're doing the court
Islam.
action justice program, because I do remember you saying that you were a little bit hesitant. So we're happy that you decided to step out of your comfort zone and right on into that sovereign action. Justice Wilson, yes.
Yeah, I try to send my court action when I do a lien.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
yes.
something you can think about.
Yes. He said that he normally will send his court action and lien at the same time. I usually do that too, Justice Wilson, by the way. I try to send everything at once.
Islam?
Islam Empress.
Yes, I just wanted to make a note, only because of some of the questions I've had and what I've actually seen, is that with the lien that we sent out, the UCC1 with the financing statement to the companies, I would suggest
it's affidavit.
I'm sorry, I
right?
apologize. Affidavit.
Yes.
I would
not
suggest
the forms. Yes.
Affidavit. Thank you for that.
Yes.
I would suggest with the affidavit that you send out the cover letter and the notification. Sometimes I believe some of the Moors are leaving those out. And the reason I suggest those is because if you look at them, they have a lot of documents that the judiciary has put in place, recorded documents that they can refer to. And it helps to emphasize, and for them to look at a lot of things in addition to your lien affidavit, your affidavit that you're sending to them. So if you haven't been doing that, you might want to take a look at that cover letter and the notification. I consider it to be very important and like powerful, like Genesis says. I yield.
Yes, Empress Maylo, what is your website address? Because you have a website that has Moorish documents on it as well, don't you?
Yes, yes, I do. It actually it'll reroute you to the actual site, but they can just type in Moorish American Consulate Arizona.org.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay. And it'll route you there, and then you just click on the Moorish American Consulate Arizona Territory link, and it'll take you to a lot of things that are there. So, Islam.
Perfect. Perfection. We appreciate you, Empress Maylo, Justice Maylo.
Islam.
Justice Gregory? Yes, Islam.
I'm just looking for confirmation here. I'm Gregory Tariq Bey. I haven't done a court action, and I seem to be confused. Are you paralleling me with another person?
No, there is a justice. We have another justice. His name is Justice Gregory Dewayne Wright L. That's who we were referring to, and he is on the line, actually.
Yeah, I just wanted to get confirmation because it sounded like he was talking to me. So.
No, but thank you for that. No,
I see him in the chat. I just want to make sure. Because I'm sitting back. You know how I do, but I'll get it together.
Yes, I do.
I'll get it eventually. I will. I know I will.
We're waiting on you. We're waiting for you. Islam.
Amen.
We're gonna be here too. We're not going anywhere. So take your time. Take as long as you like. We're gonna still be here waiting on you.
All right, and I'll still be coming. Islam.
And all Moors actually. We're not going anywhere. Been here, gonna be here. Islam. Any other questions, comments, etc.? Islam. Okay, I wanted to remind everyone that on October 31st, we here at the Moorish American Consulate West are inviting all Moors to come and meet us at Mima Mounds at Olympia, Washington Territory. It is an ancestral burial ground for us. And there are over 400 mounds there, and probably more than that. It is a walking meditation, basically a walking meditation. We're going to be walking through the mounds and honoring and pursuing and inviting more ancestral energies to come forward in all that we do. We love our ancestors so much, and we honor them for securing this estate for us for such a time as this. They did everything to make sure that we had everything we needed to wake up safely and securely, and to make sure that we know that everything belongs to the heirs. And so we want to honor them on October 31st. We chose October 31st because for several reasons. Number one, that is normally the it was previously considered a corporate holiday known as Halloween. We know that they hypothecated all of our hallowed holy days and changed it into something corporate, and we have taken all of that back. We know that October 31st, particularly this year, our nation will be celebrating that day, which is the day that the veil between the dimensions is the thinnest. In other words, the ancestral energies from other dimensions and other times and spaces, our ancestors throughout time immemorial, we will be feeling their energy and welcoming their energy and allowing their energy to live through us. And that is the day when the veil between those dimensions will be the thinnest, and we want to honor that. We want to honor that and hear what they have to say to us on that day as well. And for those who cannot make it to this territory, there are mounds and ancient burial places and places of memory in every territory all over our land, regardless of where you are. And so we encourage all Moors to go to the mound areas in your territories on that day. We're going to be at Mima Mounds at 12 noon. And we're going to spend a couple of hours walking through because it is it's a couple of hours walk through there. I know it's a minimum probably of 2 hours walk. So we will be dressing comfortably. We will be bringing plenty of water. I'm not sure whether it will be hot or cold because you never know here. So bring what you need for that. And we're looking forward to communing and meeting with the Moors that we've not had an opportunity to meet yet, and also connecting with the energies of the Moors who, although you may not be coming here at this territory, in your territories, the energies are going to be connected with ours anyway. And we're excited about that because the veil is all over our land. And so our ancestors will be connecting us all in mind, spirit, body as well. There will be some Moors who are going to Cahokia Mounds at the Illinois territory.
Please announce yourself.
As well. Also, the Atlanta territory, I believe they're going to have some Moors meeting at the mounds there as well. So are there any other, Justice Yerma, I think you wanted to say something with regard to
Islam. I wanted to, one thing I wanted to pass a little bit of information about that October 31st. It's observed in all of the Americas as Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, because that day is when we understood back in the day that that's when the ancestors would come and visit, and people used to go to the burial grounds and set food out there and light candles and put a lot of things in it. It became quite interesting because when I was a little one, we used to want to go out there and check if the food was good. So, so, you know, you could say we were grave robbers in a way, but but that day is not at all not known about, and it's been, the biggest thing was done to hide that and to let us think that it's something from someone else. And the reality is, before we went to the point where we thought it was the Day of the Dead, we knew it was the day, like you said, of the ancestors here and there, visiting with each other freely. There talk about star travel. The beings would travel from all different dimensions and meet in different places. And by the way, anyone who wants to do that still can do it. All they have to know is remember who they are and start working at it. But yes, that is very much an important day. And I will check about whether we should arrange something to go to those so-called Cherokee Old Cemetery, where I told you about the 300-400 yard long mounds and about 50 yards wide and maybe 30-40 yards above ground. I mean, they're monstrous, and they're right there in near Port Wentworth in Georgia Territory, near Savannah. Monstrous mounds. Islam.
Perfection. We encourage everyone to go out to the sites and the mounds and pyramids that are in your territories. We know now that pyramids are everywhere, and that which you think might be just a hill, if you look a little closer, it may prove to be something more interesting, Islam, something more notable where our history is concerned. Also, with regard to October 31st, it is the day of yet another full moon. I forget which moon it is. I believe it's the harvest moon, though. But we will have one of the 13 full moons for this year on that day, and October is a month that has two of the fullest moons of the year on them in that same time span of October, the beginning of October, and also on the 31st. So we want to honor that energy as well. We know that the moon has a lot to say about our wombs and what happens with our wombs, the birthplace of the nation. And so we honor the moon energy as well, Islam. And I wanted to also, we spoke about sovereignty. I want to read really quickly again. Most of us know the definition of sovereignty, but I want to read the definition of what a sovereign is. Okay. A sovereign as a noun, one who exercises supreme power. It is, a sovereign is one having the highest authority in a state, such as an emperor or a queen, a monarch, etc. A sovereign is also a group or a state that possesses sovereign authority. And I don't think it's group. I think it's actually state. So that's a little bit hypothecated. Because anytime, even one sovereign is a nation already, not to mention an entire nation of sovereigns as well. Sovereign, independent of all others. A sovereign is, it says any of several gold coins. So Grand Sheikh Tajiri Bey always says, we are the bank, we are the wealth, we are the estate. That is absolutely true. We are the living estate, which is why Islam. Yes, go ahead.
Just confirming that the sovereign was a British sovereign is what it was called, and it was and is a measure of money that was always used. Islam.
Yes. Sovereign as an adjective, thank you for that, Justice Gilmore. Sovereign as an adjective is also, it means above or over, above or superior to all others, chief, greatest, supreme, supreme in power, rank, or authority, of or holding the position of ruler, royal, reigning, excellent, very effectual, a cure, a remedy. We are the remedy, we are the cure for all that's going on our land. And it's right there in the phonetic definition of sovereign. And that means that Islam. Okay. Islam. And that is what, that, with us being the sovereign, that gives us the authority based on our bloodline and birthright to govern our land without the permission of any other. We need permission from no one to govern our land. We do it on our own, okay? We are self-governing, and we govern as a nation. We are the law, and we are the government, Islam. Are there any other questions, comments, etc.? I think that is all we have for this week, for this Sunday, in terms of what we're going to be doing for the week. Over the coming week, stay tuned. We have some other processes that we're going to be introducing as well, so that we can continue the Grand Rising. Be ready for change. Be ready for change. Be ready to navigate as well as we continue the Grand Rising of the heirs. Islam, Justice, I believe that was Justice Kendall that was going to say something.
Yeah, Islam for everybody. I'm just trying to ask, when can I guess get involved in another mock court so I can learn how to do the court action?
Yes, Islam.
And then I also had a question about how to upload the documents onto the Moorish American consulate, because I am finished with my corporation termination of corporate contracts. I just didn't see how to actually upload them, and I yield.
Islam. Empress Maylo, do you want to address the practice court?
Islam, yes, as far as the mock court, practice court, first of all, you need to create an account at freeconferencecall.com. Once you create a free account, there's also a link for you to download the app on your computer, okay? And once you have your conference information, all you need to do is email me and tell me what day and time you would like to have your court, because you will be the host. And when we do the practice court, I'll put the information out and let everyone know you're having the practice court, because there are people who not only want to support you, but there are others who also want to be in on the practice court because they want to have one coming up also. And once you have that information, and the practice court, you don't have to be nervous about it at all. It's just that's the place you want to just make all the mistakes, or which you can't hurt or harm anything, okay? We'll make sure that you have the documents that you need. We'll make sure you have the script. Anything else that you need, just email me and just ask. With the other governing justice, overseeing the justice, will be Janiyah Joniel. I'll put her and give her the information also, and also Justice Genesis Lael. She will also be in on the practice court. And we would also like to enlist the help and support of one of the nobles if they would like to help us with the practice court. So we would like that also. There's some that I call court action pros, and they know who they are because I've said that to them. So so all you need to do is just create your account, and you are the host. And when you get ready to do your court, remember that we can't come on until you come on, and so you probably want to come on like 15 to 10 minutes beforehand.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you don't,
what's your email, Empress?
Are you online or are you on audio?
I'm online, and if you want to post it in the chat, I can see it.
Oh, okay, and I don't mind. I'll give my email both places. It's mayloemrojo @gmail.com, and that's spelled MAYLOEMROJO @gmail.com.
Okay.
Fantastic. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Yes,
Thank you,
Islam. I don't get to make it to all of the court actions, but I tell you, I'm so excited about them that I just cannot even, I just love it, because this is exactly what our estate needed. It needed the heirs to step forward and govern like we know we can, Islam. And that has just, the court actions and the sovereign courts have taken off and just really blossomed and bloomed. And I want to thank those who have done court actions thus far. Just high honors to you, because we know that that it is of the utmost priority that we are the ones who step forward and govern this land accordingly. Everything belongs to the heirs. Why wouldn't we govern it at law? And the law is the best way to govern the estate. There's no better way to govern our resources than our own court. So we're grateful to the ancestors for all that they have done in listing the court actions and making it so that, without a doubt, everyone knows that the heirs are wide awake. Islam. Are there any other? Yes, go ahead, Justice.
Yeah. Daryl Bay out of Texas Territory.
Yes.
I was actually going to say that we are definitely making progress as far as this. I got into an incident with the unlawful police, and I had a court date in March, and then in March I talked to the prosecutor or whatever and told him who I was. They kicked me out of court real quick. They got me in and out real quick. But I say that to say that I set it for trial by jury of my own peers. It's for a minor fake traffic infraction. But I set it for a jury, and my court date was in May for jury trial, and then they reset it for September. And now the September date has been canceled due to coronavirus.
Islam. That's what they say.
Right. So, yeah, I just want to say it to all the Moors to keep doing what you do, and yeah, just keep helping each other, and the energy will just spread like a disease. It'll get contagious.
Islam.
I yield.
Islam. Thank you for that, Justice. Listen, everyone knows we're awake. Everyone knows we're awake. I mean, it's almost getting to the point where it's funny to me that, that they ever thought we would sleep for as long as we did. I don't know. And it's also a little bit funny that some still are acting like they don't know who we are. And it's like, are you kidding? Have you actually been sleeping under a rock every night with no television, no internet, no nothing, no newspaper, no nothing, and no energetic chakra at all? Because even if you can't see us, you can feel us, And so I'm just excited for our nation. We cannot lose. We just can't lose with everything that's going on and all that's being done where the heirs are concerned. And it has everything to do with the active Moors. The active Moors. Even if you just do like our prophet said and declare your nationality. Nationality is the order of the day. If you do nothing else, declare your nationality. Empress Genesis, do you have the bowls ready? I think we'll go out with the bowls today.
Islam, I do.
Islam.
Yes, okay, hold for just a moment. Justice Gilmore, go ahead.
Just before, I heard the question asked early in the meeting about how to, this supposed order that's going to be put out by the governor of Virginia. I believe the same thing that they were doing for several other states. And fact is, it does not apply to you, and it tells you right on their very notices, because even at the major stores and things, all they got to point out to them where it says everybody has to wear a mask, and then it says with this and that with exceptions. The exception is you. And why? Yeah. You are the sovereign, and you must not be kept quiet. You must speak up. That's why you don't wear a mask. And people will look at you and they will at first think you're nuts. Just like they thought we were nuts when we started to say that we got courts and we got all this stuff, and they're not what they think they are. And then they started to pay attention. And they will pay attention to you when you keep going out and you keep walking into these places knowing fully well that you are, in fact, not only upholding the law, but being the light that they need to see.
Yes.
Because you're no longer putting your light under a barrel. You're shining it. That's what's important. And to do it every way you can. Some people do some things, some people do others. Just shine your light and know that there are no rules that are made that they can make to make you do. You're the sovereign, and that's, everybody knows what a sovereign means. Islam.
I mean, think about it. If they're eating off of you and they can't live without you, then who's really in charge? Just something to think about. Just something to think about. And there's a way to say and to demonstrate that in a lawful manner that makes it so that they have no option, no choice, but to yield and do exactly as a subject would do. Okay. And again, the court actions, there's nothing that says sovereign jurisdiction as powerfully as the court actions do, because it's only by their fake court actions that they were exercising jurisdiction. And now we are doing what we should have been doing all along. They only did it because they were supposedly showing us how to do it. Now that we're doing it, they have to stop. Islam. And they stop for the Moors who do the court action. Islam. And I'm not even going to hesitate when I say that. They will stop. When the court actions are done competently, they will stop doing what they're doing. We're seeing that all over the land.
Islam, I got one more question.
Yes, Islam.
So, okay, I'm gonna be quick. For the properties that I have, I did the whole administrative process. All I need to do is get the court action, and after the court action, would I want to get in touch with the sheriff or the marshal to actually like possess the property?
Okay, first, always demonstrate at the level of your overstanding. Second, the answer to the question is always going to be that we do not. Why would you go back to those ones, the sheriffs, etc., when they're the violators in the first place?
Because it says the sheriff is the last line of defense when it comes to defending the Constitution. Or
So
I could
if
just
you're prepared to
them and go to the treaty.
If you're prepared to do that demonstration, then I would suggest that you study it first and then always demonstrate at the level of your overstanding. Okay.
Islam.
That is actually the answer. Islam. Yes.
Islam. This is Justice Janaya. Islam, everyone. Yes. I came in on the call a little bit late. I want to camelback off of what the Noble was just speaking about, and also that we do need to demonstrate at the level of our competence, because I think you should, if the Noble should speak with some of the other Moors or hear some of the other Moors, their processes and some of the things that they have gone through in the process that may help you to identify whether or not you would want to do that. With me, the property that I was possessing was empty, and I did go through a process of getting in touch with the sheriff and the local authorities, so-called authorities. Take that back, gotta watch that. But they pretty much ignore all of your affidavits that you sent out. They will not respond. The only time they're going to respond is once you move on to the property, and the neighbors or some will call to report that someone's on the property. So therefore, you need to be, I would say, up to par on standing on your square if you're found on the property. So that's just, suggestion, just something that you have to recognize and know that you can demonstrate, in order to carry out what you're wanting to do. I yield.
Islam. Go ahead,
Islam.
Justice.
Is that me?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay, so I'm piggybacking on what my Empress sister just said. What we did is that we leaned all the parties, so the sheriff, the sheriff, the person that records the documents, we lean everybody, and the policy enforcer and the mayor. So they all know that when I'm coming, I'm going to give them prior that I'm going to come to repossess this property. So before I even do that, I'm going to make sure I have my 4 brothers that we appointed one as the sheriff in our territory. So we are not using the sheriff. We're not using the policy enforcer. We're just putting them on notice that we're going to do what we're going to do. Then we all prepared. We go and we take possession of property after doing the court actions on all of those parties. So we done did the court action against the alleged owner, the sheriff, the mayor, the police commissioner. Everybody's been leaned. So, and once you do the court action, they're all subject to us. So now, once you do all of that, Now you can go and repossess the property. So you covered all your bases. 'Cause they can't do anything. They under us because we done made them subjects. So you got to cover all your bases before you do anything. Don't rush. Just follow the procedure. It's all laid out for you. If you follow it the way you're supposed to do it, you'll be successful. I yield the floor.
Islam.
I just want to add to
Islam,
that. To
thank
add
you
to
for
that, when you
Yes.
do that, I just want to make a suggestion. Just put them on camera, put them on blast, put your own media out there. We're all our own media, so put it on media so that at least we can all be there as a witness if anything does happen to, be unlawful out there.
Islam. Yes. So
Islam?
I want to say something. Go ahead, Empress. Go ahead.
I'll make it quick because I hear that you want to say something. This is Empress.
No. Go ahead. Take your time, Empress. Go ahead.
Sade El Bay. I was calling in because I'm Kamala, and I would like to suggest for people, just because I know we're going through this for the first time, so everybody is trying things. We have to be like scientists and keep trying different ways to see which way works. I'm adding to my termination of contracts to also add addresses to that. So I've added all previous addresses that I've ever had as a care of, I would say, address where it was either a domicile or where I had mail delivered to. But I'm also terminating the PIN numbers under the termination of contracts as well. And with my particular situation, it's a property that was under my company name. I had several companies, which I've already put liens on those companies and put those under my termination of contracts with the EINs. And we're actually domiciling in one of the properties that was under the company's name that's going through foreclosure. And so we will, I'm going to, let everybody know how it goes because I'm actually in that property right now, which is my domicile. So I'm terminating all of the addresses, like I said, EINs, as well as putting liens and doing court actions on my companies, all the companies that I had as well, and the allodial titles and so forth. So I'm doing that along with everything else. I thought that would be something else to add to all the Moors if they would like to, put that into their terminations agreements, all, definitely companies, but also addresses. Because when they skip trace you, they look at your where you lived, or they say where you live, but your domiciles, and they attach that war name or the social security number to those addresses as well. I yield.
Islam. Let me say this about that. Those are all awesome demonstrations. High honors to the heirs for demonstrating your sovereign status where property possession is concerned. And that's I'm going to stop that energy there in terms of the high honors because it deserves no other statement other than high honors. Now, where we're going from here is this. Our ancestors are saying, and I know that you all can feel this in your spirit because it's been affirmed by Moors who did not even know that we were even saying the things that we've been saying lately about the possession of property. Our ancestors are saying to us now at this very time that it's time for us to focus on nation building and that our possession of property demonstrations are going to be far more effective if we focus now on government building to get the government up in the building. Okay, we have a process that the sovereign supreme judiciary is working on, and again, don't let that name cause any energies in you that are not that are anything less than positive, because we are all a part of the sovereign supreme judiciary of the nation. We do have a sovereign supreme judiciary for the Moorish American Consulate and the Moorish National Republic federal government that does the think tank and demonstrations on new processes, and they're not really new processes, they're processes and keys that the ancestors give us with regard to possession of property, so that before we present the process to the nation, we demonstrate the process ourselves. And we're going to be demonstrating over the coming weeks, and it's a process. So as with all other processes, it's going to take a little bit of time. But we are going to be demonstrating the process of government buildings, getting the government buildings, so that our governments can begin to operate publicly in a unified, sovereign manner, now that we have laid down all of the foundational documents and things already on top of the things that our ancestors have done. So the Supreme Judiciary is going to be working on those that process, so that because just think about it. If you are needing a domicile, it's going to be a lot easier, even where spell casting and spell breaking is concerned, for you to be able to point to a building in your territory and say, my government building, our government is right there. It's going to be so much our muftis are right there. They're there. If you need to know where all of this is coming from, our government building is right there. That's where we are located in this territory. That is the focus right now of all that we are doing, because it's going to assist in providing remedy for the demonstrations that are being done by the Moors individually, but we must focus on nation building, nation building, nation building. I say it 3 times because it's a spell. Our mentals must be on nation building at this time. And so the individual, and it's not individual but we spell it differently, so we mean sovereign sui generis. The individual demonstrations are great. Always demonstrate at the level of your overstanding. If you feel led to demonstrate, no one can stop you from demonstrating. But right now, our energies are going into government buildings. We need to get our government into the buildings, because we already know that there's plenty of buildings available on our land. We need our muftis to be active. We need to be building our military. We need to be building our courts. We need to be building all of that as a nation, so that when we go to possess the properties in the territory, there's no question about who's governing. Okay? And so while Islam. So while the several demonstrations are good, we need to get the government and the nation manifested in the territories even now. That is the focus of the judiciary as well as this nation as a whole. So while we're saying don't wait for anyone else to act, so don't wait on the judiciary to do your demonstrations, don't wait on us, do your demonstrations if the ancestors lead you to do them. In the interim, we are going to be working on manifesting nation building, and we ask that all of the sovereigns, every sovereign here, and every sovereign who hears this, to send the ancestral energies needed for us to continue to manifest this nation and this government the way that our ancestors did it. They did everything with pure excellence and pure nobility. And we know that everything that we do, they are blissing it. And so that is what we're working on, nation building, as opposed to, and it's not as opposed to, because it's in alignment with the energies of the individual demonstrations that the heirs are doing. Even if that's sovereign credit instrument or whatever else you're doing your demonstrations on. Okay? We need to focus on building the nation now. We have done enough to get us a little bit of breathing room where these fake judges and fake policy enforcers and all of that, we've done what we need to do to back them up so that we can get this nation standing. Let's focus now on getting the nation standing. We're already standing in place as it is, but we need the manifestation in our territories. Just imagine with me. Don't imagine, visualize it, because it's going to happen. It's already happening. It's a wrap already. We're just manifesting it in the natural. That our nation stands and that these buildings that are sitting vacant in the territories, in every territory, I can tell you that there's not a single one of us that cannot point to a building in the territories that's nice and of use, that we can use for our government actions to go forth in. And that is on our way to the buildings in those places called capitals, because that's us. We are those buildings. And I posted photos of the Temple of Justice here in the territory. That's ours. The Capitol, all domed Capitol buildings belong to the heirs. Every last one of them. And that's why they're vacant at this time. And so there is a competent way to govern the moving into those buildings, and that is the processes that we're working on now as a nation. And when I say as a nation, you all are working on that same thing as well. You're working on it too, by demonstrating. However the ancestors lead you to demonstrate. Again, don't wait on the judiciary to do anything. Do your demonstrations. And we're going to continue the grand rising together. Everything that we're doing it right alongside you. We're all here. Islam. Having said that, we are right at the 2-hour mark for this awesome energy exchange among the sovereign heirs. And we want to remind you about October 31st, and either if you're coming here or if you're going to be in your territories, to go to the sovereign landmarks, the ancient landmarks as well, on October 31st at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. It will be Pacific Standard Time here. And let's do all that we can to cross the veil. We cross the veil regularly anyway, but on that day when the veil is already the thinnest, it's actually already went into, the veil is already torn, and we're in there. We're interdimensional already. We want to continue that and just connect with our ancestors who are within us in a way that we've never done it before. We want all of the power and authority of our ancestors to be with us as we continue the grand rising. Peace and grand rising to the heirs, and we will meet again on Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday in the week. Islam.
Grand rising.
Grand rising.
Grand rising. Grand rising. Grand rising.
Islam. Grand rising.
Grand rising.
Grand rising. Hope everybody's safe.
Peace and love. Grand rising.
Much love.
Grand rising, peace and love to all.
Grand rising.
Tomorrow. Grand rising. Grand rising.
Power to the people of Morocco.
Islam.
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 Grand Rising.
Islam.
Hope everybody is safe. Stay safe.
Islam.
Islam. Grand Rising.
Much love, much love, much love to the nation. Grand Rising.
Islam. Grand Rising.
Peace and love.
Grand Rising.
Peace and love.
Yes. Grand Rising.
Grand
Rising.
Three more.
Grand Rising.
Three more makes 9, and 9 is completion. Grand Rising and peace and love.
Islam. Islam. Peace and love.
Islam.
Read the spell. Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising.